Hello, English learners. Welcome back to Roy English Talk, your favorite place to learn, practice, and grow in your English journey. I'm so happy you're here with me today, because what I'm about to share could truly change your life. Have you ever spent hours studying English, memorizing grammar rules, watching videos, even downloading 10 different apps, and still feel stuck? Like your English isn't improving fast enough, or worse, like you're going in circles? You're not alone. Millions of learners hit a wall after the beginner phase, and they don't know what's holding them back. But what if I told you the problem isn't you? It's the way you've been learning English. In this video, I'm going to share 10 English tips that could completely change your life. Not the same old advice you've heard 100 times. These are powerful, psychology-based techniques that real learners use to finally become fluent, confident English speakers. Here's what you'll discover: why studying grammar is slowing you down, how copying native speakers word for word can make you fluent faster, why speaking early, even with mistakes, actually rewires your brain, and the shocking reason you should stop translating everything in your head. Sound interesting? This isn't about shortcuts or magic tricks. It's about learning smarter, not harder. If you're willing to challenge everything you've been told about learning English, this might just be the breakthrough you've been waiting for. Stick around till the end, because tip number 10 is the one that ties it all together and makes fluency inevitable. Let's dive in. Tip number 1: stop studying grammar like a textbook. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you learned grammar in your native language? Probably never. You just picked it up by using the language. And that's exactly where most English learners get stuck. They treat English like a school subject, not a language. They memorize tenses, passive voice rules, and conditionals, but can't order coffee in English without freezing. Here's the truth: grammar isn't the problem. How you're learning it is. Most people think learning grammar means sitting down with a textbook, memorizing abstract rules, and filling in blanks. But real fluency doesn't come from filling worksheets. It comes from recognizing patterns over time by being exposed to real, meaningful English. This is called natural acquisition, and it's how your brain wants to learn. Let's say you're trying to learn the present perfect tense. You could memorize have plus past participle and do exercises like I have eaten, she has gone. But that won't help you use it naturally in conversation. Now imagine instead you're listening to a podcast episode where someone says, I've just finished work. Or, have you seen that movie? And you hear it used over and over again in real context. Suddenly, you don't need to think about the rule. You feel when it sounds right. This is how native speakers learn, and you can too. Instead of studying grammar in isolation, immerse yourself in English that's just slightly above your level. Watch YouTube videos, Netflix shows, or listen to podcasts with subtitles. When you see or hear something that repeats, pause. Ask yourself, what does that mean? When would I use that? Then try to copy it out loud. That's how patterns stick. And here's a killer technique. Keep a grammar in context notebook. Every time you hear a phrase that uses a structure you don't fully understand, write down the whole sentence. Don't write rules, write examples. Later, review these examples and use them in your own sentences. This approach rewires your brain to start recognizing grammar the way native speakers do, not as isolated formulas, but as living structures. So remember, fluency isn't about knowing every rule. It's about understanding patterns through exposure and repetition. Stop learning grammar like a math equation. Start learning it like a living language, because the moment you stop obsessing over rules is the moment you start speaking. Tip number 2, copy native speakers. If I told you the fastest way to become fluent was to copy people, would you believe me? Probably not. But here's a secret. This is exactly what native speakers do as babies, and exactly what advanced learners do to break through fluency plateaus. You don't need to invent the wheel. You need to imitate the rhythm, tone, and words of fluent English speakers until their voice becomes your voice. This method is called shadowing. It's simple. You listen to a native speaker, ideally from a video, podcast, or movie, and repeat exactly what they say as they say it in real time. No pausing, no perfect pronunciation. Just repeat. You're not only learning vocabulary, you're copying intonation, speed, emotion, and sentence structure. You're rewiring your mouth and brain to sound natural. Let me tell you something that might blow your mind. When actors learn a new accent for a movie, they use shadowing. When interpreters train to translate live at the UN, they use shadowing. This is not a beginner trick, it's an elite fluency skill. Start small. Pick a 30-second YouTube clip from a native speaker, play it, listen, then shadow. Do it 5 times in a row. Then challenge yourself. Record yourself repeating the same audio. You'll be surprised by how much you're absorbing without memorizing anything. The trick isn't to understand every word. The trick is to feel the rhythm and copy it. This makes you sound more natural without even thinking about grammar or vocabulary. It's how you train your brain to speak automatically without translating or hesitating. Want to go even deeper? Use what I call the 3-step shadow method. Listen passively. No speaking, just absorb the sounds. Shadow live. Try to speak at the same time as the speaker. Speak solo. Now say the exact sentences from memory, trying to match their voice. It feels awkward at first. You might stumble, but the progress is unreal. Here's the best part. You don't need to know advanced English to do this. Even basic phrases like, "How's it going?" or "I've got no idea," become powerful tools when you say them like a native. It's not about using big words. It's about using real words the way real people do. So forget about being original for now. Your job is to be a mirror. Copy, copy, copy. Then one day, you'll open your mouth and realize you sound fluent without even trying. Tip number 3, switch your phone and life to English. Imagine this. Every time you unlock your phone, you're practicing English, not studying, not reviewing, just living your life in English. Sounds small, right? But this one tweak could double or even triple your exposure to the language every single day. Here's the truth. Your phone is your greatest English teacher, if you set it up right. Most people spend hours a day on their phones, scrolling, texting, reading notifications. So why not turn that time into language learning time without even realizing it? Switching your device language to English forces your brain to engage with everyday vocabulary in context. Settings, battery, notifications, calendar. These aren't random words from a textbook. These are real English words you interact with constantly. And it doesn't stop at your phone. Set your Netflix, YouTube, Spotify, all of it, to English. Change your default search language on Google. Use English keyboards. Follow influencers, channels, or podcasts that speak only in English. Make your digital life an English-only zone. You might be thinking, but I'll get confused. I won't understand everything. Exactly. That's the point. Struggle equals growth. Confusion means your brain is working. Every time you pause and think, wait, what does that mean? You're learning. You're building new neural pathways. That discomfort, that's the magic happening. It's called passive immersion, and it's one of the most powerful techniques for language learning. Think of it like background training. You're not sitting at a desk, you're not doing flashcards. You're just surrounded by English 24/7, and your brain does the work for you. Want to take it further? Try this challenge. For 1 week, consume only English content. No native language allowed. Social media, music, videos, apps, everything in English. At first, it might feel like you're drowning, but by day 3, something weird starts to happen. Your brain adjusts. You start understanding without trying. You stop translating. You live in the language. This kind of environment shift trains your brain to think in English. And once you start thinking in English, fluency becomes inevitable. So here's your homework. Right now, go into your phone settings and change your language to English. Yes, right now. Don't overthink it. Small change, big transformation. Your fluency is hiding in your habits. Change your environment, and you change your brain. Tip number 4. Start speaking before you're ready. Let me be blunt. Waiting until you're ready to speak English is the biggest mistake you can make. Fluency doesn't come before you start speaking. It comes because you start speaking. So if you've been holding back, waiting to build more vocabulary, or get your grammar perfect, you're holding yourself hostage to fear. The truth is, speaking badly is the first step to speaking well. Think about how babies learn to talk. They don't wait until they know one-syllable words or understand grammar. They babble, mess up, get corrected, and try again. And guess what? It works. Why? Because the brain learns fastest through failure. When you speak and make mistakes, your brain gets feedback. It learns what sounds right, what sounds weird, and adjusts. But if you stay silent, none of that happens. You're not learning. You're just watching from the sidelines. The secret to fluency isn't perfection, it's momentum. You need to build the habit of speaking English out loud every single day, even if you talk to yourself. Even if it's just describing your room or what you ate for lunch. Speaking activates different parts of your brain than reading or writing. It forces recall. It forces output. And that's where real learning happens. Let me give you a simple exercise. Every morning, stand in front of the mirror and speak for 2 minutes about anything, your plans, your feelings, your dreams. Don't stop, don't translate, don't correct yourself, just keep going. It's called free flow speaking, and it rewires your confidence. You'll feel awkward, you'll make mistakes, but that's not failure, that's progress. Want to accelerate the results? Use a language exchange app or find a speaking partner online. There are thousands of people just like you who want to practice. Don't wait until your English is good enough. Use the English you have right now. That's how you grow. And here's a mind-blowing fact. Even making mistakes out loud helps you remember better than silently thinking the correct version. Speaking makes it real. It makes it stick. So if you're serious about fluency, forget about being perfect. Forget about feeling ready. Start speaking today. Speak wrong. Speak badly. Just speak. Because fluency doesn't start with knowing. It starts with doing. Tip number 5. Stop translating in your head. Let's get real for a second. How many times have you tried to say something in English, but your brain stopped you mid-sentence because you had to translate? You think the sentence in your native language, Then try to find the English version in your head, word by word. The result? You speak slower, hesitate more, and feel less confident. This habit is a fluency killer. And if you want to sound natural, you've got to break it. The problem with translating in your head is that languages don't work word for word. Phrases, expressions, and even sentence structure vary wildly. For example, in English, we say, make a decision, but in other languages, it might be, take a decision or do a decision. Literal translation confuses your brain and slows you down. So, how do you stop translating? You train your brain to think in English directly. Here's a super simple way to start. Begin with your surroundings. Right now, look around and label everything in English. Window, table, backpack, phone. Then move to simple actions. I'm walking, I'm drinking water, I'm tired. Narrate your life in real time, in English, out loud or in your head. This builds automatic connections between ideas and English, not ideas and your native language. Want to take it further? Use image-based flashcards instead of ones with translations. For example, instead of seeing your native word for apple and then the English version, just look at a picture of an apple and say, apple. No translation, no native language involved. Just the direct connection between concept and word. Another great method, watch English content without subtitles or with English-only subtitles. This forces your brain to match meaning directly from the context, intonation, and visuals, without depending on translation. And yes, at first it'll feel uncomfortable. Your brain will resist. It'll want to go back to the easier, familiar way of translating. But if you push through this phase, just like ripping off a bandage, you'll notice something magical. English starts to feel like its own language, not just a code to decipher. The ultimate goal is this. When someone speaks to you in English, you understand the meaning directly, not the words. When you want to express yourself, the words come naturally, not from a translation engine in your mind, but from the language center you're building every time you think in English. It won't happen overnight. But with daily practice, yes, even 5 minutes a day, you'll start making that shift. So starting today, tell yourself this: no more translation. Not in conversations, not in practice, not even in your thoughts. Your brain is smart enough to think in English. You just have to give it permission. Tip number 6, use the Goldilocks rule. Have you ever tried to watch an English movie and given up halfway because you couldn't understand a single sentence? Or read a beginner-level textbook and felt totally bored, like you weren't learning anything new? If so, you're not alone. That's because you were learning outside your Goldilocks zone. And yes, that's a real thing. The Goldilocks rule comes from psychology and learning science. It says that we learn best when a task is not too hard, not too easy, but just right. Like Goldilocks and her porridge, remember? If it's too difficult, we get overwhelmed and give up. If it's too easy, we tune out and stop growing. So here's the game-changing insight. Your English learning materials should always feel just slightly uncomfortable, not painful, not impossible, just challenging enough to make your brain work a little harder. Let's say you're at an intermediate level. If you only watch English cartoons made for 5-year-olds, you're not going to grow. But if you jump into a fast-paced courtroom drama full of legal jargon, you'll feel lost and frustrated. Instead, aim for content where you understand about 80% and the other 20% stretches you. That's the sweet spot. That's where real learning happens. Here's a practical way to apply this today. Pick a video, podcast, or article and test your comprehension. If you're missing every third word, great. That's probably your Goldilocks zone. If you're missing every sentence, it's too advanced. If you understand everything without thinking, it's too easy. And don't forget to adapt as you grow. What's challenging now might be too easy in a month. You've got to keep upgrading your input to stay in the sweet spot. This also applies to speaking practice. Don't only repeat simple phrases like, "How are you?" and "Was doing?" Where are you from? Push yourself to explain your opinions, tell stories, or describe complex feelings, even if you make mistakes. That discomfort means growth. Learning should feel like going to the gym. A little strain is good. Pain, not so much. If you're never struggling, you're not improving. But if you're always struggling, you're not enjoying, and you'll quit. The Goldilocks rule helps you balance learning intensity so that you stay motivated and make progress. That balance is what keeps you consistent, and consistency is everything. So, from now on, whether you're choosing a podcast, a book, or even a conversation partner, ask yourself, is this just challenging enough? If yes, you're in the zone. If no, adjust. The right level of difficulty isn't a bonus, it's the whole game. Tip number 7, create a language bubble. Fluency isn't just about what you study, it's about what you live in. And the truth is, most English learners spend only 5% of their day with the language, and 95% back in their native language. That won't cut it. If you want to speak English naturally, you need to create a world around you where English isn't something you practice, it's just part of your life. You need a language bubble. A language bubble is a personal environment you design, on purpose, where you're surrounded by English as much as possible. Think of it like moving to an English-speaking country, without ever leaving your room. Here's how to build yours. Step 1. Make English the default in your daily life. We touched on this in tip number 3 with your phone and social media. But now take it even further. Change the language on your computer. Subscribe only to English-speaking YouTube channels. Follow creators on Instagram or TikTok who post in English. If you're into fitness, follow English-speaking trainers. If you love cooking, follow English chefs. Connect your interests to the language. Step 2. Use English for thinking, not just studying. Start journaling your thoughts in English. Write to-do lists in English. Set reminders in English. Talk to yourself in English. Every small interaction rewires your brain to treat English as your language, not just something you're learning. Step 3. Surround yourself with real voices. That means listening to English podcasts in the background while doing chores, watching English news or shows during meals. Even if you're not focused 100%, your brain is soaking it in. Passive input works. It adds up. It's like water slowly filling a glass, drop by drop. Step 4. Change your social space. If you have English-speaking friends or online communities, engage with them. Join Discord groups, Reddit forums, Facebook pages, or WhatsApp groups where English is the primary language. Find people to message daily in English, even if it's just memes and emojis. Every little bit strengthens your bubble. And don't worry if you live in a non-English speaking country. That's the beauty of the internet. You can build your English bubble anywhere. You just have to be intentional. Now here's the secret. The bubble works best when it's personal. Don't fill it with generic textbooks or dry news if that bores you. Fill it with your interests: music, fashion, gaming, productivity, sports, whatever keeps you excited. That emotional connection makes the language stick. A learner who surrounds themselves with English 6 hours a day, even passively, will progress faster than someone who studies with a teacher for 30 minutes twice a week. Why? Because they're not learning English. They're living it. So from today, make a decision. Design your own English world. Build your bubble. Step inside and don't come out. Because fluency doesn't just happen in classrooms. It happens in your life every single day. Tip number 8. Record yourself daily. Let's be honest, no one likes hearing their own voice. It feels weird, uncomfortable, and maybe even a little cringy. But if you're serious about becoming fluent in English, there's one habit that can skyrocket your progress faster than any app, course, or teacher. Recording yourself speaking every single day. Why? Because when you record yourself, you hear what other people hear. You catch the hesitations, the grammar slips, the mispronounced words. But more importantly, you hear the wins. You hear the confidence growing. You hear yourself becoming more fluent, more natural, more you. Here's the truth. Most learners don't improve because they don't get enough output. They consume input all day, videos, podcasts, reading, but they don't use the language. Recording yourself forces you to take the vocabulary and grammar in your head and turn it into real communication. Start small. Every morning or evening, record a 1-minute voice note. Talk about your day, your goals, your feelings, your opinion on something simple like your favorite movie. You don't need a fancy mic. Your phone is perfect. Then, and this is key, listen to it. Don't just record and forget it. Listen actively. Ask yourself, did I speak clearly? Did I hesitate or pause a lot? Did I use any filler words like or too often? Could I have said something in a simpler or more natural way? You're not trying to be perfect. You're training your brain to reflect and improve. And over time, you'll start catching those same mistakes before you make them. Now, here's a next-level move. Keep a fluency journal with short entries each week reflecting on what's improving. For example, this week I used fewer fillers, or I spoke faster without thinking too much. These reflections compound. They make your progress visible, and that builds unstoppable confidence. Want a challenge? Take one of your early recordings, maybe from week 1, and compare it to week 6. You'll be shocked by how much better you sound. You'll hear real transformation, not just in words, but in rhythm, flow, and expression. This habit also builds something most learners never talk about: mental stamina. Speaking for a full minute without stopping is tough at first. But as your mind adapts, speaking for 2, then 5 minutes becomes normal. That endurance matters, especially in real conversations where you can't stop every few seconds to think. And here's a bonus tip: pretend you're a YouTuber. Seriously, set up your camera and talk to an imaginary audience. It might feel silly at first, but this builds presence, articulation, and flow, all skills that translate directly to real-world fluency. Recording yourself is like holding up a mirror to your English brain. It shows you what's working. It reveals what needs attention. And most importantly, it reminds you you're improving every single day. So pick up your phone, press record, and speak your future fluency into existence, 1 minute at a time. Tip number 9, read, watch, and listen intentionally. Let's face it, most English learners watch videos, listen to podcasts, or read articles, but they're not really learning. They're consuming passively. And while passive input helps a little, it's like jogging in place. You're moving, but you're not going anywhere. If you want serious progress, you need to start consuming content with intention. What does that mean? It means turning every English video, podcast, or article into a mini workout for your brain. Not background noise, not entertainment only, but targeted practice. Here's how it works. Let's say you're watching a YouTube video in English. Instead of just letting it play, press pause when you hear a phrase that stands out. Ask yourself, what does that mean? Why did they use that word? Can I say that myself? Then repeat the phrase out loud 2 or 3 times. Try to say it with the same rhythm and emotion. That moment of interaction is what makes the phrase stick. You're no longer just hearing English. You're processing it, owning it. Same goes for reading. Don't just skim through an article. Highlight useful sentences, copy them into a notebook. Try to rewrite the paragraph in your own words. This turns passive input into active recall, one of the most powerful ways to learn. You can do this with anything: TED Talks, Netflix shows, Instagram captions. The key is engagement. Are you just watching, or are you watching to absorb? Let's take it further. When listening to a podcast, try this trick. Listen to 30 seconds, pause, and summarize what you just heard out loud. Then listen to it again and see what you missed. This exercise boosts comprehension, memory, and speaking, all in one. And no, you don't need to do this for hours. Even 10 intentional minutes is worth more than an hour of passive listening. It's not about time, it's about focus. One more powerful habit: keep a language bank, a digital or physical place where you store your favorite new phrases, expressions, and vocabulary. Review it weekly. Use those phrases in your recordings or daily conversations. This creates a feedback loop. Hear it, save it, use it, remember it. When you train your brain to interact with the language, not just observe it, you accelerate fluency. You're no longer a spectator, you're a participant. So the next time you watch a movie in English or scroll past an English tweet, don't just absorb it. Grab it, study it, say it, make it yours. Because fluency isn't just about how much English you consume. It's about how deeply you connect with it. Tip number 10. Make English a part of your identity. Let's end with something most teachers never talk about, but it might be the one thing that separates those who try to learn English from those who become fluent. You need to stop thinking of English as something you do, and start thinking of it as who you are becoming. That's right, you're not just studying English. You're becoming a person who lives in English, who thinks in English, who communicates in English. It's not homework, it's identity. Why does this matter? Because identity is the strongest force in human behavior. When you see yourself as a language learner, you act like someone who tries, who struggles, who's always not quite fluent yet. But when you shift your identity and say, I'm an English speaker, you start behaving differently. You seek out more opportunities to speak. You surround yourself with the language. You stop waiting for permission. This isn't about faking fluency. It's about stepping into your future now. Believing that English isn't a second language you're trying to master, it's a new part of you that's growing every day. Think of it this way. When you say, I'm learning English, that puts the power outside of you. It becomes a task. But when you say, English is a part of my life, it becomes internal. It becomes you. So how do you make that shift? Step 1. Embrace English in your identity language. Say things like, I speak English every day. English is part of who I am. Even if you're not perfect, that doesn't matter. What matters is ownership. Step 2. Surround yourself with others who have the same identity. Join communities, online or offline, where people speak English not as a skill, but as a lifestyle. Being around that mindset makes you feel normal, even if your grammar isn't perfect yet. Step 3. Celebrate your progress like an English speaker. Keep a log of things you've said, written, or understood in English. Watch it grow. That progress becomes part of your story, your personal English journey. And step 4, let go of embarrassment. You're not pretending to speak English. You are speaking English. And every time you open your mouth, no matter how messy it sounds, you're writing a new chapter in your identity. You don't need to be fluent to feel fluent. You just need to own your English. This mindset turns everything you've learned, every tip from this video, into fuel. You stop treating English like a foreign object. You treat it like a new limb, a new voice, a new part of you. So today, ask yourself, who am I becoming? If the answer is someone who speaks English naturally, confidently, and with purpose, then act like it, practice like it, show up like it. You don't need permission, you just need belief. And belief becomes reality when it becomes identity. The English you deserve is waiting. You made it. You stuck with this entire video. And that tells me something important. You're not just interested in English. You're committed to fluency. You're done with the slow, frustrating, textbook-style path. You're ready for a new way. A smarter, deeper, more powerful way to learn. And guess what? That future you, the fluent, confident English speaker you dream about, that person is already inside you. You just unlocked the roadmap. Let's quickly recap what you've learned. You don't need grammar drills. You need exposure to real language in context. You don't need to memorize vocabulary. You need to copy native speakers and speak it out loud. You don't need a perfect plan. You just need to start, even if it's messy. You don't need to study harder. You need to create an English life, one habit at a time. And most importantly, you don't need to be born fluent. You can become fluent, step by step, day by day. Each of these 10 tips isn't just advice. They're tools. Use them, practice them. Come back to them when you feel stuck. Because fluency doesn't come from a single breakthrough. It comes from consistent, intentional action. And the truth is, you're already on your way. Yes, there will be days when it's hard. Days when you feel like you're not improving. That's normal. That's part of the process. But every time you speak out loud, every time you watch a video intentionally, every time you write something down, you're getting closer. You're not starting from zero. You're starting from experience, from effort, from courage. So here's your next step. Choose one tip from this video and start using it today. Not tomorrow, not someday. Today. Record yourself, join a community, switch your phone to English. Just pick one and commit. And if this video helped you, if even one idea made something click, then do me a favor, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and share this with someone who needs it. You never know whose fluency journey you might change. English fluency isn't a dream, it's a decision. And you just made it.